Alright, how's it going? I think I can get done with this baseball game finally. So I think there are only two things that I really want to add into the baseball game at this point. So let's see where I am so I can show you that. So I've got the pitcher, he pitches the ball, the batter, he hits the ball, and in fact the ball can bounce off the ground, it can go off into the air, and you notice that now keeps track of that. I can hit a line drive, and of course I can completely miss. So those are the options, right? So everything seems to be pretty good. I can hit a fly ball, I can hit a line drive, I can hit a grounder, and I can completely miss the ball. We handled that all with physics. Now what I want to add is some gravity. So if I just let him throw the ball, you notice the ball goes straight and actually goes over the batter's head. So that's why it might look a little funny, is because it should look funny, right? Because I haven't added gravity, and I've just sort of assumed some things that I probably shouldn't have assumed. But that's because we've been building this. First we built this as a 1D game. Now I'm going to finish it up as the 2D game, and everything will be hunky-dory after that. We'll be really, really happy with where we are, or at least marginally happy enough to stop putting videos up on YouTube. So next, what I want to do is I want to add gravity. I don't know if you noticed it. It was not good in this particular grounder. And let's see, I have to actually hit another one to show you, and I have to hit one within the first half of the field. And that means I'm not going to be able to do it. But you know, the ball bounces back with just as much speed, just as much energy as it had originally. I think I'm going to want to add in a coefficient of restitution, so that the ball comes back with less energy and does like a little hop or a bump, a skip or something like that. Hop, a skip, a jump. All sorts of fun things like that. Okay, so that's where I am. I'm just about done. I hope you're as excited as I am. I'm pretty excited. I also want to get off and do other things as well. So let's see what I can do to do that. So adding in gravity, what do I need to do there? Well, remember when we added in the air resistance, right? All I did was I said add force air resistance, right? So now that's probably what I want to do with gravity, right? I know what the gravitational force is. We'll add force gravity. Seems simple enough. So how are we going to deal with that? Well, let's go up and look at that air resistance function and sort of base our gravitation function on that. So let's see. When we did with the air resistance function is we just sent the ball to the air resistance function. So I guess we do the same thing here. We have a gravity, and we send the ball to gravity. And then we get the stuff from the ball that we need from the ball. What sort of information do we know for the gravitational force? Well, the gravitational force is just the product of two things and directed down in the y direction, which is positive because this is a computer, and computers think down is positive and up is negative. All right. That's just what we've got. We've just stayed with that convention. That's completely arbitrary. We're perfectly happy with that. So we need to figure out the mass of the thing. So the mass is equal to thing.getMass. All right. And hopefully I have a get mass function in the ball already. We'll find out in just a moment. And then we need the gravitational acceleration. And that is 32.2 feet per second, I believe. We're using feet because it's baseball, right? It's not rounders or anything like that. So we've got 32.2. That's all we really need. So we return. There's no force in the x direction, and in the y direction we have mass times the acceleration. Those are both positive numbers, so that's going to be a positive number. We're done. So there should be some of that gravity in there already. All right, so let's see if I've broken anything. No, and you see it comes down to right about where it's supposed to be. I planned all this out. No, I didn't really plan it out. I, you know, using sort of this correct parameters, right? That is, I figured out what the velocity was for 90 degrees. That was 132 feet per second, right? Using that as parameter, having inputted already this distance, which is 60.5 feet from the center of home plate to the center of the pitcher's mound, we get to a point where when the pitcher throws, the ball comes to just about in the center of the guy, right? Just about in the center of the batter. That's what he's supposed to do. So everything seems to have worked out perfectly well, with very little difficulty on my part. So let me just see if I can hit one. Oh, and I can actually see the arc on that. That's awesome. Oh, and you can maybe see you saw one of the bounces there, and I wasn't ready for that one, even though I pressed start. I wasn't ready for that one. Okay, so that's good. We've added in gravity. We've got two forces working at the same time. Everything's hunky-dory. We just have two more things to do. All right? All in about the same place. And that's way up here in the ball class. All right? So way up here in the ball class, one of the two things we have to do is add in gravity in both of these add forces. Since I'm doing that twice here, that's probably not good. What I really would like to do is store these forces in a list and just go through them all each time, have them just stored in the ball. And again, if I ever get to a Unit 5, then I'll add it into Unit 5, and we'll be okay with that, right? But I'm not going to do that right now. And then I need a coefficient of restitution, right? So when this thing bounces off, we need to have a coefficient of restitution in the ball class. Now, I'm going to say that I don't know what the correct coefficient of restitution is for a ball hitting for the ball hitting the ground, but actually I probably should just use C, but I used restitution, I think. So let's say that it gets a quarter of the speed in that Y direction. All right. So now I think we've got everything that we need for a baseball game. Let's see. And I missed. A swing and a miss. Oh, all right. That was too good a fly. Oh, that's a nice. That grounder looked like a grounder now. That's awesome. And I think I can see a little bit of a. I think I can see a little bit of a curve. That is awesome. It really does look like a grounder. I think I can see a little bit of the thing going on, but I can't be sure. And it's hard enough to hit this when I'm not talking. It's even harder when I am talking. Parabolic trajectory. I definitely can see it when I hit the grounder, right? And the line drive actually is pretty simple. It's hitting the fly for some reason doesn't look that way. And I mean, it would be awesome if I could hit a really high fly and it would come back and bounce on. And I can do this all day because, you know, I'm done, right? I've got a working game. It's probably not the best game, but I've got a working game using just the principles that we teach in the video game physics class. The only thing that I think that we don't use here that is a principle in the video game physics class is a collision of two free objects. That's okay. We could try to model the bat that way, but if I really wanted to get into a detailed modeling of the bat, then I'd want to get into a lot more issues like torque and things like that. And I really want to worry about it in 3 dimensions, right? The real physics of the bat isn't, you know, well, depending on your position, the position of the ball when you entered a frame 2 where, you know, where is that relative to some arbitrary place? Give it an angle, see what happens. The real physics is very interesting, but it's three-dimensional, and you really have to have more control. Now, it might be that I'd want to add a little force, an additional force, not just a reflection, to this ball when I hit it. I could do that with the coefficient of restitution too, right? I could just, rather than having a coefficient of restitution for the bat being 0.25, I could give it a larger one. I could model a strong hit by making that 1.5 or something like that, or 2.5. I'm not really sure what the correct size would be. I haven't made this in such a way that, you know, I could see what the range is. That wouldn't be really difficult for you to modify yourself. If you've been following along, you can do the entire thing yourself and figure out what the ranges are, and then say, well, would a slugger hit this or would a slugger hit that, and figure out pretty much figure out what the right coefficient of restitution was to model it this way. So again, we're just using a model, right? And this model for the batter is weak. The model for the ball flying is strong. The model for the batter is weak. The model for the bouncing ball, that's pretty good. I could probably do better. I maybe could look something up or you know, try some experiments on my own to get a reasonably good idea of what the coefficient of restitution for the ball is. But that's pretty much what we've got, and I think it looks reasonably good, even though even my avatar does not seem to be on his way to the majors. But, you know, that's fine. Can have lots of practice. So anyways, that is my baseball game, using just about everything that you do in my video game physics class. So if you'd like to hear more about this and get some practice on it and stuff like that, you can take that class. Otherwise, you can just, you know, watch the videos and try to program the things that you see in the example things and just make things on your own. I mean, that's the most fun thing, is just saying, hey, this is what I want to program. Let's go program that. I mean, that's always what's great about programming in the, you know, is that you can just make the computer do whatever you want it to do. And, you know, if you can't make it do that, you just have to think about it for a while, and then it's even better when you can, right? So, I mean, it's a pretty awesome thing. So, hopefully, you've enjoyed watching this. I think you have. I mean, I have no idea how many of these there are right now, but let's say there are 6 hours worth of these things of me talking and programming at the same time. So, there must be some reason why you stayed around to see the end of these. So, thanks again for staying around, and have a good time, all right? Bye now.